You probably never imagined that your real estate holdings and investments would be facing such scrutiny years later. Let's talk about this purchase of your cottage in Ireland. First reported in the Hartford Courant. This week it made the New Haven Register, the Wall Street Journal, even papers overseas. And there are a couple of issues that are being raised about this. But first, Edward Down, an old friend of yours, was involved in the purchase. Somehow he's a witness, and he later pleaded guilty to insider trading, paid $11 million, and was later pardoned by President Clinton on your urging. Well, why would he be pardoned?
Okay. Let me go back a little bit in the facts.
Okay. Clarify them, because we want to make sure that
he was not involved in this transaction at all. He signed some documents as a witness on something.
Okay.
The fines he paid were not that. He was given community service of 3,000 hours. The fines he paid, nowhere near the number, I'm told anyway. I don't know the details of all of them, but I'm told when I saw that number at all. He's been a friend of mine since the late 1970s. He broke the law. And he's admitted the mistake he made. He also then did his community service and continued to serve in this capacity, working with minority students in New York. I didn't walk away from him when I wrote the letter, as others did. There were other Republicans, Democrats who he knew as well, who also supported him in that effort. And I certainly was aware of the political implications, Dennis. But he's been a friend of mine. He made a mistake. I'm a great believer in deploring the sin and embracing the sinner, if you will. And in this case here, I knew the easy thing would be to walk my hands to the guy and walk away. I didn't do that.
And he's still your friend today?
He's a friend today. And he's recovered. He's been a remarkable. He spent 16 years still teaching the same students, way beyond the 3,000 hours. He reformed himself. He admitted his mistake. He stood up. He pled guilty to those charges. He received the fine he did in the community service hours. And I know the temptation to say you should have walked away from the guy. I'm not cut out of that cloth. People who know me in Connecticut know that if a friend, I'll stick with you in a bad time and a good time.
And that's the answer. I guess you just answered the question that the Wall Street Journal asked this week. They said Connecticut voters might want to know why their senior senator has hung around for years with Mr. Down, the kind of financial scoundrel they called him. Mr. Dodd spends so much denouncing, but you say he's reformed. And
he's a good person.
But there are also some reports that you have undervalued the house, that it's worth more than you have put on paperwork.
Yeah. Well, no. By the way, all 15 years that I've owned this, either alone with my wife or with the other individual, is all been reported in public disclosure documents every year. So that's all been out there. In fact, there were stories in Connecticut back in '94 when I bought this. This isn't some secret out there.
No, absolutely. Yeah.
And secondly, when I bought out the interests of the other partner in the house back in 2002. The bank required there be an appraisal done. They did the appraisal. That's what they valued the house as. And I paid in cash to that other individual $122,000 plus the closing costs, which represented 2/3 of his interest in that house. Plus, I took over the entire mortgage, the outstanding mortgage on the thing, because at the time when my wife and I did it, I said we're going to be most conservative on this because someday someone could raise the issue of whether or not we did it. So we took the more conservative line. So the stories about only $15,000 are just not accurate. It was a very, I think, reasonable amount of money to pay him for what his value was in the property at the time, based on an appraisal done by the bank.
You're quoted in Time magazine this week as saying, "I'm exhausted." You're on the banking committee. You're helping Ted Kennedy spearhead healthcare reform. Are you exhausted?
No, I'm tired. I mean, we haven't stopped, Dennis, since last fall, when the news on that September 18th about the economy cratering, melting down. You remember that night that happened with the chairman of the Federal Reserve? And so it's been a tremendously long run here, going through all of that. It never stopped coming to this. I've had 15 hearings already. I've got 6 hearings next week, 4 of the full committee, 2 of the subcommittee and the banking committee as we're getting ready for the modernization of regulations. I've got credit card legislation I want to get up to vote on, predatory lending practices I want to deal with, flood insurance that needs to be dealt with, a infrastructure bank. I'm watching the health committee while my best friend in the Senate, Ted Kennedy, gets back. But President Obama has asked me to help out. He had us down to the White House and asked me to help out on this modernization issue. I've been asked down there several times to work with him. I support him on the stimulus package and the budget efforts. We've got to get our economy back on its feet again. And my job in that banking committee is to play a role in making sure that that committee fulfills its obligations.
Are you the best person for the banking committee right now to head the committee, you think?
oh, well, anybody has. I don't have that kind of an ego. I'm there. It's not a meritocracy in the Senate. It's a seniority system. And as I told you earlier, I became chairman 25 months ago.
Are you spreading yourself too thin? I mean...
No, I'm really, while I serve, and I serve on the Foreign Relations Committee, I've gone to some of the meetings they've had. I've been to some of the meetings. Senator Mikulski, Senator Harkin, and Senator Bingaman are all on the Health Committee. I've asked them, and Senator Kennedy, to take over the responsibility on health care, on cost, coverage, as well as prevention. They've been having their hearings. I've gone to several of them, but my attention is on the banking committee issues, of getting those issues right. I'll pay attention to these other matters, plus the issues here at home, but that's my primary focus right there.
We'll talk about those issues at home in just a moment. When we come back, we need to take a break to hear from our Face the State sponsors. More with Senator Dodd in a moment.